The haunting truth behind the girl who never aged, 3 secrets her parents wish they knew. The small town of Willow Creek had seen many strange things, but none could match the enigma of Lily Adams. At just 10 years old, she looked like a porcelain doll, with porcelain skin that seemed untouched by time. It was shocking to see kids from her school grow taller, their faces changing, while Lily remained forever frozen in her innocent smile. Whispers filled the air, carried on the breeze like secrets yearning to be shared. Is she cursed? One neighbor would wonder aloud. Or just, not human? Lily vanished every Sunday without fail, a straight-up Houdini act. People noticed, her parents always looked so haunted and worried. By the time the church bells rang, she'd disappear like smoke in the wind. No one knew where she went, and curiosity turned into obsession for some. A couple of kids dared to follow her one fateful Sunday. They claimed to have found her standing alone, gazing into the old cemetery that bordered the town. The wind howled through trees, making it sound like the dead were whispering to her. Chills ran down their spines. But the moment they called her name, she spun around, eyes wide, panic echoing in her voice, "Don't come any closer." It didn't take long for the townsfolk to grow wary of the Adams family. They avoided their home, whispering about a dark secret lurking just beneath the surface. Some would say they could hear Lily's laughter echoing through the woods, a sound so joyful it felt wrong considering the mystery surrounding her. Yet, when her parents were asked, they always brushed the questions aside with uneasy smiles, as if acknowledging the questions would awaken something terrible. The tension hung thick, making it hard to breathe, leaving people glancing over their shoulders, expecting to find something lurking behind them. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Back in town, the tension grew unbearable. As rumors swirled, one night, a shadow followed the Adams home. A figure shrouded in darkness stood silently, watching. Lily's parents were oblivious. But the townsfolk noticed the figure more than once, slipping away before anyone could catch a glimpse. Relationships frayed, eyes darted nervously, and questions hung in the air like storm clouds. What was its purpose? The darkness deepened with every sunrise. The townspeople held their collective breath, wondering how one little girl held such sway over all their lives. And, just when hope seemed dim, a letter slipped out of nowhere found at the foot of Lily's favorite tree. It read, "The truth lies in silence, and it's about to scream." What did it mean? Who wrote it? And what secrets had Lily or her family been keeping? The answers buzzed in the air, desperate to break free. The sun set slowly over Willow Creek, casting long shadows across the town. The air was thick with tension as the townsfolk gathered to discuss the letter found at the base of Lily's tree. Eyes flickered from person to person, but nobody dared to voice the fear coiling in their guts. Could they be right? Were they harboring a monster in their midst? Maggie Roberts, a sharp-witted neighbor with an investigative streak, squared her shoulders and declared, "We can't keep living like this. We need to find out what she's hiding." The crowd murmured agreement, a mixture of defiance and dread swirling among them. One boy in the crowd, Tommy, spoke up, his voice trembling. "But what if it's true? What if she's not human?" Fear sizzled around him, a palpable force causing some to shudder. Maggie, undeterred, rallied the group. "Let us form a search party. We'll stick together." As they broke into clusters, the shadows grew longer, their destination the cemetery that loomed ominously at the edge of town. The old iron gates creaked like a ghostly whisper as the group stepped inside, the temperature dropping as the sun sank beneath the horizon. The light dimmed, and with it, their courage started to falter. But curiosity pushed them forward. Do you think she is here? Someone whispered. Maybe she talks to the spirits, another scoffed, trying to lighten the chilling atmosphere. Laughter echoed nervously as they ventured deeper, glancing at the tombstone's silent sentinels that had witnessed countless secrets over the years. Suddenly, they heard the laughter. It was soft and playful, twinkling like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. The group exchanged uneasy glances before continuing toward the sound, a mix of fear and fascination driving them forward. It led them to a small clearing where they found Lily, swaying gently among the gravestones, her hauntingly beautiful face lit by the pale moonlight. "Lily!" Maggie called out, stepping closer. The girl's head snapped in their direction, her eyes wide, a whirlwind of emotions flickering across her features: fear, confusion, then anger. "You shouldn't be here," she shouted, her voice echoing like thunder in the still night. "You have to leave." But something deeper in her tone stopped them in their tracks, the urgency grabbing hold of their hearts. "What do you know?" Maggie pressed, her bravado now cracking. Lily stepped back, glancing over her shoulder, almost as if she were expecting something or someone. "They can't find out," she whispered, trembling. Then a rustle in the underbrush broke the air, sending adrenaline racing through the search party. They turned together, following Lily's gaze to a figure emerging from the shadows. A man, cloaked in darkness, with eyes that burned like embers in the night. The crowd gasped as he took a slow, deliberate step toward them, the ground seeming to groan beneath him. "Lily," he crooned, "it's time." Panic washed over the group, heartbeats thundering in their ears. The figure exuded an authority that made them all freeze, a heaviness enveloped the air. What was happening? Who was this man? And why did Lily look so terrified? As the questions hung in the moment, the world seemed to tilt on its axis. The truth was finally surfacing, and this was only the beginning. What lay beneath the surface of this chilling encounter? Could the townsfolk ever grasp the haunting truth about Lily Adams that had been buried for so long? The figure stepped closer, the moonlight revealing more of his face's sharp features and an unsettling grin that sent chills down Maggie's spine. He moved with an almost supernatural grace, each step deliberate, calculated. "Lily," he said softly, as though coaxing a frightened animal from its hiding spot, "come home." Just then, panic erupted among the townspeople. Murmurs spread like wildfire as they took a collective step back. Some clutched each other, eyes wide with fear. "Who is he?" someone gasped, voice trembling with raw terror. He's just a man," Lily stammered, but her voice lacked conviction. She looked as though she might break at any moment. "You don't understand. He's not just any man," Tommy shouted, his resolve crumbling. "Don't you see? We have to warn everyone." The man's eyes sparked with something sinister, and a predatory smile twisted his lips. "And how will you do that?" he challenged, the threat hanging heavily in the air. "You're already too late." Maggie's heart raced. She wanted answers, but the tension suffocated her. "Lily, tell us what is going on," she demanded, desperation cloaking her voice. "What does he want with you?" Lily hesitated, glancing nervously between them and the dark man who loomed like a storm cloud. "If I tell you, you'll be in danger," she finally said, her voice cracking under the weight of fear. "He's not just a man. He is something else." The crowd gasped again, dread spreading through them like a venomous fog. "Something else? What do you mean?" Maggie pressed, driven forward by a mix of courage and desperation, but before Lily could answer, the man's smile faded. "It's time to leave, Lily. You can't fight this." His voice was low, almost a growl, filled with a dark power that seeped into the ground beneath them. "Maggie!" Tommy shouted, panic splintering his voice. "We can't let him take her." The gravelly voice of the man cut through the air. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." An unnatural wind whipped through the cemetery, rustling the leaves and sending chills creeping up their spines. The shadows thickened, twisting around them as if the night itself were closing in. Maggie felt a lump in her throat as her resolve started to waver. "No!" she cried. "Lily, fight him. Don't go." But Lily looked lost, her eyes vacant as if she were already disappearing into another realm. I can't," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I'm sorry." Just then, without warning, the man lunged forward, reaching for her. The group screamed, every instinct screaming to flee. But someone stepped in front of Lily, a figure from the back of the crowd, Mr. Adams, her father, eyes wide with determination yet filled with anguish. "Not my daughter!" he bellowed, positioning himself between Lily and the man. "Stay back!" Maggie yelled, fear clawing at her insides. But Mr. Adams didn't flinch, he stood firm, an unwavering barrier against the darkness. "Lily, run!" he shouted. "Get away from him!" The darkness stirred. The ground trembled beneath them as if the earth itself were torn between two forces. With a single command, the man flared his hands, and a blast of shadow shot toward Mr. Adams, engulfing him in darkness. Everything erupted into chaos. Screams echoed, and hearts raced as the townsfolk surged back, stumbling over roots and gravestones in a blind panic. But one voice rang clear through the madness: "Lily. Stop. Please." In that moment, the world seemed to freeze. What decision would she make? What truth would she reveal? As the darkness closed in, the weight of destiny pressed against them. Little did they know, the very heart of Willow Creek hung in the balance. What secrets lay hidden, waiting to be uncovered? Would they find salvation or succumb to the very darkness they feared? The shadows pulsed, alive with the chaos that enveloped them. Lily's voice had a sharp edge of desperation, like glass breaking against the weight of fear. "Stop!" she cried again, eyes darting between her father and the dark figure. "You don't understand. He's here for a reason." Tommy grabbed Maggie's arm, his grip tight and shaking. "What does that even mean? This isn't just a game." Lily swallowed hard. "There are things you don't know, things I've tried to hide." She stepped hesitantly toward the figure, and every instinct screamed at Maggie to grab her back. This wasn't just any storm, it was an earthquake, shaking the very foundation of their lives. "Lily, wait!" Mr. Adams shouted, voice strained, but fear had already etched deep lines on his face. The man stood there, shrouded in dark anticipation, watching her approach with a smirk that twisted at the corners of his mouth. "Please," Lily whispered, her voice trembling like a delicate leaf in the wind. "Just tell them the truth. They have to know who I really am." Maggie's heart sank. What truth? What could possibly be worse than the nightmare unfolding before them? "Don't, Lily. Don't listen to him," she begged, feeling the panic rise like bile in her throat, but the darkness had a pull, wrapping around Lily like a comforting blanket. "I've kept so many secrets from you, and it's time they came to light. I can't keep hiding, no." Maggie shouted, panic spilling into tears. "You don't owe him anything." In the depths of their chaos, the man let out a low, mocking laugh, dark and intoxicating. "Time is not a friend to any of you," he crooned. "The truth will always find its way out, no matter the cost." There was a tremble in the earth, a telltale sign of something deeper, darker brewing beneath the surface. The air thickened with impending dread, charged like a storm about to break. People stumbled back, their faces ghostly white, like images from a nightmare refusing to fade. Lily stopped, her frail form caught between light and shadows. "I am not what you think, Lily, please." Mr. Adams howled, his voice cracking. "Say anything but that." But whatever conviction had once lit her eyes flickered like a dying ember. "I was never meant to be like you. I was enough." The man interrupted, anger flashing in his eyes. "Silence her, or I will have no choice but to take all of you." Maggie felt the heat drain from her limbs, an icy fear wrapping itself around her heart. She stepped forward, willing her voice to be steady, but it trembled dangerously. "You can't do this," she said, the words tasting of ash on her tongue. "Oh, but I can," he hissed, taking another step closer to Lily, the shadows swirling hungrily around his feet. "And I will. You can either hand her over willingly, or I'll take her by force." The air felt electric, crackling with energy, every heartbeat echoed like a war drum. She felt Tommy's presence beside her, anchoring her in this maelstrom. "No, we won't let you," he yelled, stepping in front of Maggie, a shield of youthful defiance against the encroaching darkness, but the man's smile returned, wider, more menacing. "Then let us see how brave you truly are," he said, and with a swift motion, he unleashed a surge of dark energy that rippled like a wave, knocking them off balance. Screams erupted again in the graveyard, sharp and piercing, as shadows curled around them, smothering the light. But in that split second, Maggie caught a glimpse of something of Lily's eyes, shining with fear but also with a glimmer of defiance. "Trust me," she shouted, and for a fleeting moment, hope flickered alive like a candle in the night, but as darkness closed in, those eyes were swallowed whole. In the heart of the storm, would Maggie choose to fight, or would she let fear guide her? The moment of truth approached, the grip of destiny tightening, and the revelation of who Lily truly was loomed on the horizon. What would they discover when the darkness finally fell? Would the secrets buried deep within Willow Creek save them, or plunge them deeper into despair? Maggie's breath caught in her throat, a knot of fear twisting tighter as the shadows closed in around them. The dark figure, with its smirk and impossible power, seemed to pull the very air from her lungs. She could hardly think, every instinct screaming at her to run. But where would she go? The world around her morphed into a haze of confusion, chaos, and that ever-encroaching darkness. She felt Tommy's grip tighten, his hand warm and reassuring against her trembling forearm, anchoring her in a reality that threatened to dissolve. "Lily," Tommy cried, his voice cracking in desperation. "Please, don't do this." The figure took a step forward, and the ground shuddered in response. "You think you can hide from what you've become?" he taunted, his words dripping with malice. "You belong to the shadows now, Lily. Embrace it. Stop." Mr. Adams yelled, his features twisted with anguish. "She's just a girl." But the stranger laughed again, a sound so dark it sent chills down Maggie's spine. "You don't understand the power in her blood, in her very essence. She's more than just a girl, she's a key." Lily's eyes darted between the two, the struggle within her evident. I can't keep living this lie," she finally murmured, voice barely above a whisper. "I never asked for any of this." "Lily, think." Maggie shouted, stepping forward as if to grasp her friend's hand, but the shadows flickered, warning her back. "He's lying. You can still choose. Don't let him win." The battle raged in Lily's eyes, fear fighting against a burgeoning sense of identity. What if he's right? What if all this time, I was never meant to fit in with you? Maggie's heart raced as the implications hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. "No. You belong with us here, in this world. We're your family." But behind her, the shadows writhed and whispered, a chorus of dark promises offering solace in her uncertainty. The stranger reached out a hand, beckoning her forward. "Come, Lily," he crooned with a sickly sweet tone. "Join the shadows. You'll be more than you ever were. With my guidance, you'll understand your true power." A low rumble echoed from below, the earth thrumming with tension as lights flickered in the night sky, caught between the struggle of good and dark forces. The crowd behind them gasped, eyes wide with disbelief and horror. "Don't let him manipulate you," Mr. Adams shouted, but the words fell like rocks into the abyss that was Lily's gaze. She was teetering, caught on the precipice, and all it would take was one wrong nudge to push her over. "I can't," Lily murmured, tears pooling in her eyes. "I don't want to hurt you," and in that moment, Maggie felt her gut clench, a visceral sense of loss blooming within her. This wasn't just about the shadows, it was a war for Lily's very soul. Tommy took a breath, voice steady despite the tremors in his hands. "We'll fight for you, Lily. We'll face whatever this is together. Please." But before they could gather strength, darkness surged over them, wrapping tighter, squeezing the very essence of hope. Fear twisted in a knot, bearing itself raw in the light of impossible truths. Maggie could hardly breathe. The weight of the dark figure bore down on them, pulsing like a heart alive with evil intent. As shadows engulfed them, Lily stood teetering at the edge of the abyss. Would she leap into the unknown or turn back to the warmth of love, of friendship? Time slowed, every heartbeat like a drum. Decision hung in the air, thick and suffocating. "Lily, don't let him take your light." Maggie shouted one last time, desperation fueling her voice, and just as the tendrils of darkness reached for Lily, a blinding light flickered in the distance, illuminating the graveyard with a brilliance that felt like life itself. What would bloom from that light? Was it salvation or destruction? With the fate of Willow Creek hanging in the balance, who would emerge as the survivor, the girl who could never age, or the shadows that demanded her? The light exploded around them, a radiant burst that pushed back the shadows with startling force. For a split second, everything froze. The dark figure reeled, screeches filling the air, mingling with the shouts of the crowd. Tommy squeezed Lily's hand tighter, his eyes sparkling with urgency and unyielding hope. "Lily! Focus on the light," he urged, pulling her closer, as if his warmth could shield her from the darkness. Lily stood there, mesmerized by the brilliance, her breaths coming in short gasps. The shadows writhed, almost sentient, desperately trying to reclaim their hold. "But, what if I'm meant to be part of that?" she whispered, her voice quaking. Doubt flooded her expression, battling the spark of resolve ignited by the light. "Don't you dare think like that," Maggie shouted, stepping protectively in front of her friend. The bright light surged again, momentarily illuminating the sinister figure's face, revealing a twisted smile that resembled a mask of anguish and delight combined. "You think you can thwart destiny?" he sneered, his voice rolling like distant thunder. "She will understand, and then you will all fall." The pulsating light cracked through the air, a beacon born of their shared hope, filled with the weight of emotions too heavy to bear alone. Maggie could feel it, an electric connection wrapping around her like a shield. It wasn't just hers, it belonged to each of them. This wasn't about fate or power, but the enduring bonds of friendship and love. Suddenly, Lily stepped forward, eyes glistening with newfound determination. "I want to let you take me," she declared, her voice soaring above the chaos, casting away the doubts that lingered like fog. She reached for Tommy, gripping his hand tightly, and simultaneously drew on the strength of everyone around her, Maggie, Mr. Adams, and even the gathered crowd, who gasped but also cheered, rallying for a fight they didn't fully understand. "Join me then," the dark figure roared, anger spitting through his words as he lurched forward. Shadows poured off him like a cascading waterfall, desperate to snatch Lily back into the void. But, together, they stood firm. The light flickered and danced, illuminating the terrified faces of the crowd behind them. Each beam carried a whisper of encouragement, of assurance that they wouldn't go down without a fight. Their resolve shone brighter than the darkness, carving a path through that suffocating gloom like a lighthouse guiding lost ships home. "Don't look away," Maggie shouted, clutching Lily's arm. "Focus." With an earth-shattering roar, the darkness retaliated. A fierce blast sent cracks through the ground, reverberating like a heartbeat in pain. Yet, Lily stood taller, shaking off the fear that had plagued her for so long. With a deep breath, she closed her eyes and raised her hands, feeling the weight of the light pour into her body, embracing what she truly was, a beacon. The shadowy figure hesitated, his confidence faltering, sensing the shift in balance. "What is happening?" he spat, eyes narrowing. "No. You're supposed to be mine." Maggie felt the pulsing light intensify, vibrating with Lily's unwavering spirit. "No one owns her," she shouted defiantly, feeling every heartbeat resonate as strength coursed through them like a river. Then it hit, the realization washed over them like a cleansing wave. They weren't just fighting for Lily. They were fighting for themselves, for the lives they led, and for every victim of darkness. It pulsed, it thrummed, a collective heartbeat that drummed against the shadows, but the dark figure's laughter echoed once more, chilling and merciless. You think you can defeat me with this pitiful light? You've yet to discover the true horror of what lies in her blood. With one last burst, the shadows lunged forward, poised to reclaim what they believed was theirs. And in that moment, everything narrowed: the light, the darkness, the tension that prickled at their skin. Just as the shadows reached their full might, enveloping them once again, something deep within Lily awakened. Whatever it is you want from me, you'll have to take it. She cried out, and just then, she opened her eyes wide, transforming the fear in her heart into a shield, but the darkness wasn't the only threat lurking. As the shadows converged, a flicker of something else emerged from the depths, a terrifying truth waiting to be revealed. What had been hidden all this time? Would they be ready to confront it? The real battle was only beginning. The shadows enveloped them, a suffocating cloak that drummed with a malicious pulse. Lily felt the darkness crawl against her skin, whispering twisted promises. Those words tore at her, dragging her thoughts into a void where fear and despair thrived. But defiance surged in her chest as she steadied her breath, focusing on the light still flickering like a fading star. All around her, Tommy was shouting encouragement, his voice straining against the screams of the crowd. "You've got this, Lily. Don't let him win." The warmth from his hand ignited a fire inside her, pulling her back from the brink. Maggie threw her arms wide, seeming to absorb the surrounding light as if it were part of her being. "Together. We are stronger together. We won't let him take you." Each word struck against the dark figure, like arrows piercing through the smoke. "Together." The shadowy figure's laughter rolled like thunder. "You have no idea what you're fighting." His dark energy crackled, swelling in strength, and for a moment, Lily sensed an overwhelming tide pushing against them. The shadows swirled, mixing with the screams of the crowd, creating a haunting symphony that filled the air with dread. Just then, a piercing vision shot through Lily's mind, a memory long hidden. She saw a small room, packed with dust and cobwebs. In the corner, a book lay open, its pages filled with words in an ancient script she almost recognized. There was something about it, something that jolted her heart. "What am I missing?" The words slipped from her lips, almost a plea. As if answering her, beams of light erupted from her fingertips, tracing intricate paths in the air. The shadows recoiled, hissing like a frightened animal. "What's happening?" Tommy shouted, his face a mask of awe and fear. I think I remember." The connection with the light empowered her voice, drowning out the chaos surrounding them. "There is something I need to unlock, something hidden inside of me." "Lily!" Maggie cried in fear. "Be careful." But it was too late. As Lily's heart raced, she felt an unsettling crack within her, like glass shattering. Suddenly, the memories flooded back, pouring through the cracks like rushing water. Bits of her childhood, moments of laughter and pain, memories of hands that had held her tight, all weaving a tapestry of loss and longing. Yet one particular vision stood out. Her parents, faces strained with worry, whispering urgent warnings about her blood, her heritage. The legacy that could either save or destroy. It was there, that ominous thrill. "Lily, don't let it take over," echoed in her mind. The crowd around them shifted, murmuring anxiously as realization began to ripple through them. The shadows sensed it too, fluttering like dry leaves, desperate, edging closer. "What are you trying to do, girl?" The dark figure hissed, a flicker of fear beneath his bravado. In that instant, Lily gathered all she had: the love, the fears, the tears, and propelled it into the light shimmering at her fingertips. "I am more than what you think," she shouted. "I will not succumb to the darkness." The light exploded anew, blinding and brilliant, carving through the shadows like a river slicing through a canyon. For a fleeting moment, she saw Mr. Adams, clutching his chest, eyes wide as if he had just deciphered a cryptic code. His lips moved, but no sound emerged. Then, the overwhelming truth hit her like a wave crashing against the shore. "I am the key," she murmured. But I don't know. Before she could finish, the shadows lunged again, this time with a vengeance. The very essence of the darkness became concentrated, spiraling towards her like a tornado of despair. Tommy stepped forward, eyes blazing with fierce loyalty. "We believe in you, Lily. Don't give up." With the fierce roar of the crowd urging her on, she stood her ground, knowing an unimaginable truth lay just beyond reach. Could she unlock the twisted threads woven into her very being? And would the price of that knowledge be too much to bear? The swarm of shadows thickened again, rising with an urgency that sent a chill down her spine. As the darkness closed in, one question lingered like a fog: what truly waits on the other side of the light? The shadows slammed against Lily, engulfing her in a suffocating wave. Her heart pounded like a drum, drowning out the screams of the crowd. She felt the pressure of the dark figure's energy, thick and malevolent, pressing closer. Each pulse of darkness threatened to snuff out what little light remained. "Stay strong, Lily." Tommy's voice rang out, slicing through the chaos like a blade. But that comforting sound was fading, lost amid the rising tide of despair. "Together. We can fight this," Maggie shouted, her arms still extended, channeling their collective hope into a beacon in the encroaching night. Yet the shadow figure was relentless. "You think you can resist? You are nothing without me." His words coiled around her like smoke, suffocating and cold. With every passing second, Lily felt the darkness inching in. It whispered vile secrets, taunting her with what could be lost. In her mind, the memories of her childhood clashed with pressing dread. She envisioned those dusty pages, the ancient script swirling amidst uncertainty, revealing fragments of her true self hidden behind layers of fear. "I can't let it win. I can't." She shouted defiantly, determination electrifying her core. She took a step forward, emptying her mind of all doubt. The waves of light from her fingertips intensified. "No more hiding," she bellowed, and the energy around her surged in response. Light exploded forth, illuminating the darkness like a sunrise splintering the night. "Lily!" Tommy choked out, awe mixing with terror. The crowd seemed to shift, their faces illuminated with the glow of her power. But darkness was crafty. It roiled around them, frantically trying to close the gap, morphing into grotesque shapes that lunged toward the light. "Focus on the truth. It's in you," Maggie cried, her voice a lifeline amid the chaos. Lily closed her eyes, drawing upon the feelings cascading inside her. She breathed deeply, the warmth of her friends anchoring her against the abyss. Her parents' faces appeared again in her mind, etched with cautionary tales, the weight of their legacy hanging heavy on her shoulders. What was the truth they had tried to protect her from? The shadows writhed closer, their cries were deafening now, a cacophony of doubt and despair. "You will fail!" they shrieked, their voices laced with mockery, but Lily felt the light converge within her, a force so strong it almost hummed. "I won tea!" she roared as she plunged her hand into the brilliance, feeling its warmth expand into every corner of her being. The moment stretched, a breath held in suspense. Suddenly, the dark figure lunged, a tendril of shadow shooting toward her like a serpent seeking its prey. "Lily!" Tommy's eyes were wide with fear. With instinct and fury, she lashed out, connecting with the shadow as if their energies clashed in a violent storm. The impact rang through her, sending shards of darkness and light spiraling outwards. She caught a glimpse of the shadow figure, a flicker of something beneath the darkness: fear. Desperation. In that split second, she understood, he was just as trapped in the web of this battle as she was. The shadows shrieked, fracturing under her light. "No! You will not comprehend your destiny." They were losing ground, retreating into the corners. But the darkness thrashed back, gathering its strength, furiously swirling again, attempting to snuff out the light. Driven by instinct, Lily pulled from deep within her heart, the very strength of her lineage blooming forth. "I am the light that conquers the dark." But just as her energy pushed against the tide, a sudden tremor rippled through the ground. The crowd gasped, stumbling back in fear. The shadows writhed, now fractured but not defeated. What would they unleash in their desperate strike to reclaim control? As the power surged within her, a terrifying question rose in Lily's mind: what kind of truth was she awakening, and would it uproot her very identity? The ground shook again as the shadows responded with a fury that rattled her bones. The air thickened, charged with raw energy as time hung suspended, teetering on the edge of darkness and light. Would she ever find the key she sought, or would the descent into the shadows become her final chapter? The shadows pulsed violently, slamming into Lily like waves crashing against a fragile shore. Chaos erupted around her, whispers clawing for her sanity as her pulse quickened, a wild drum echoing her fear. What lay at stake felt unfathomable, but one truth loomed larger than the rest: the fate of not just her own life, but the lives of those she loved. "Lily, push it back. Use your strength," Tommy shouted, his voice strained against the cavernous darkness. He could barely stand, the weight of the energy pressing against him was palpable. "No." Lily snapped back, her voice emerging from the depths of the chaos, a promise mixed with defiance. She felt the power churning within her, building like a volcano ready to erupt. The warmth buzzed beneath her skin, a stark contrast to the tenacity of the cold shadow that sought to snuff her out. "What truth?" she whispered, barely audible, the question a desperate plea. The shadows paused, twisting and contorting like serpents. For a heartbeat, everything felt still. "The truth will chain you." The dark figure boomed, his voice a guttural rasp. "It will unravel the very fabric of your existence." Lily's heart raced faster. Could it truly take away the essence of who she was? Images of her parents, the warmth of their smiles and stories left untold, flashed in her mind. Doubt clawed at her insides, weaving a tapestry of worry that constricted around her heart. With measured breaths, she focused on the light pulsating within her, the very core of her being fighting back against the oppressive darkness. "No, I am more than your shadows. You are wrong," she declared, the conviction melting her fear away. The shadows recoiled, hissing and writhing, but they were not defeated. They surged forward again, an insatiable hunger propelling them closer. But Lily felt the flicker of hope within her swell, igniting a fire of clarity and strength. "Show me." She yelled into the void, her hand stretched toward the darkness, her voice like a beacon rippling through the night. The moment froze as she felt the world shift around her, the ground trembling beneath her feet. Suddenly, she saw it, a flash of brilliance emanating from within the shadows. A connection, something that intertwined with her very essence, something personal. "What are you?" she demanded, the fury and pain coiling within her. "Only a reflection of your deepest fears, your hidden truths." The shadow shrieked, its voice a spine-chilling echo that danced through the surrounding air. "Embrace them or be devoured whole." Lily's eyes flared as her determination surged. "I refuse. I refuse to be a prisoner of my fears." Pulling together every ounce of energy within, she thrust her hands forward. Light exploded forth once more, washing over the darkness. This time it felt different, it carved out paths through the swirling black, illuminating twisted memories and lost moments. Each slice of light revealed unheard stories and unsaid goodbyes, forces that bonded her to her past. The shadow figure shrieked, convulsing. "You don't know the burden they carry. You are not ready. You cannot handle the truth." The words struck her like arrows, yet part of her understood. What was hidden, what lay burrowed beneath her parents' cautious smiles? "I'll face it," she cried out defiantly. "If it means saving them, I'll face whatever truth awaits." As her light pushed deeper into the heart of darkness, she felt the shadows grip around her tighter, the fear whispering vile things in her ear. The ground beneath her cracked and shattered, an ominous pulse throbbing with the chaos unleashed. But in that moment, with her friends gathering strength beside her, Lily knew one thing: the truth held power, one that could not only help her reclaim her identity but also perhaps liberate the dark figure trapped in his own misery. Yet, just as she thought she could grasp that power, the shadows roared, their hysteria rising to a thunderous crescendo. What would happen if she actually unleashed the truth? Would it destroy everything she loved, or could it spark the hope needed to claim victory? The air crackled with tension, the answer hanging just out of reach. The dark figure, now unrestrained, roared with an intensity that shook the ground. Each syllable dripped with venom as he lunged forward, but Lily stood her ground. The memories surged inside her, a tide of emotions and truths waiting to be freed. "You have no power over me," she screamed, channeling the very essence of her love and fear into the light that surrounded her. "You think you are strong?" His taunting laugh echoed, hollow and chilling. "You are weak. You are nothing without your fears." But with the warmth of her friends pushing her forward, confidence blossomed in her chest. "I am not afraid of my truth," she declared, her voice ringing clear. The air shimmered as the light intensified, creating a barrier that pushed against the darkness. Tommy and Maggie stood beside her, hands entwined with hers, their presence grounding her in this nightmare. "Together!" Tommy shouted, urging the crowd to stand firm. The townspeople rallied, forming a line behind them, their unity a raw force that flicked away the doubt and despair. In that moment, the shadows recoiled, feeling the potency of their resolve. "No!" the figure screamed, thrashing against the oncoming wave of light. "This cannot be happening." Lily's heart raced as she focused on her parents, memories flooding her mind. They were trying to shield her from all they had faced. But now, she understood she needed to reclaim not just her identity but also theirs. "I remember," she cried, allowing the luminous energy to coalesce around her. "I am their daughter, and I am more than just a secret." The ground trembled again, but this time it wasn't just fear, it was recognition, acceptance. The darkness twisted in confusion, unsure how to battle a light fueled by strength and love. "You don't understand what you invite," it shrieked. "Shadows are your blood, your legacy." "No. I reject you," Lily shouted, her resolve an unyielding force now. "I am not your possession." With every ounce of her will, she let the warmth of her true self pour forward, exploding into brilliance. The shadows screamed, weaving frantically, refusing to let go, but Lily's light spread exponentially, consuming their hold, and then, in a blinding flash, the figures were swept away. The darkness dispersed into the ether, leaving behind nothing but wisps of smoke. The crowd held their breath as the light enveloped the night, illuminating everything around them with an ethereal glow. As the brightness faded, silence fell like a soft blanket. Everyone looked around in disbelief, expecting the threat to return, but it didn't. No more shadows. No more fear. Lily blinked, pulling in deep breaths, feeling the weight lift from her shoulders. "I did it, we did it," she gasped, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. She turned to Tommy and Maggie, overwhelmed with gratitude. "Thank you for not giving up on me." Mr. Adams stepped forward, his voice thick with emotion. "You're safe now, Lily." The weight of his relief shimmered in the air, palpable. "I thought I'd lost you again." Lily looked toward the horizon. "What now?" she whispered, her heart trembling with uncertainty. A sudden breeze rustled through the cemetery, bringing warmth and a hint of the past. It danced around them like a soft embrace, rekindling hope. "Now," Maggie spoke, squeezing Lily's hand, "we uncover what we've hidden. Together." The crowd murmured in agreement, faces transformed from fear to determination. They stood united, no longer bound by shadows, but by love, solidarity, and truth. The darkness that had haunted Willow Creek began to fade, and in its place, a dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of hope. As the first rays of sunlight touched the ground, Lily felt a lightness in her heart. "I guess it's time," she said softly, a smile blooming on her face, "to tell my story." And as the townsfolk gathered around, hopeful and eager to listen, the haunting truth began to unravel, revealing a tale of love stronger than any shadow lurking in the dark. Willow Creek was ready to heal, ready to embrace the new beginning woven from light and truth. Together, their laughter rang out, a sound so wholesome it echoed through the trees, rippling through the town. In that moment, they all knew fear had been conquered, the bond between them was unbreakable, and the girl who never aged was finally freed. So now, dear friends, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep us thriving in this amazing community. And don't forget to flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this thrilling ending. You have a voice, and we're all here to listen. Lastly, be a part of this journey and instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share the light.